This is Lemon's Car Spotting. You post to Instagram with the hashtag Lemon's Car Spotting. We pick the hooptiest.
They are so incredibly terrible.
And which one we want to become a real Lemons build.
It does car-like things. We've been pushing for one of those in Lemons too, and those are very affordable.
Welcome to Lemon's Car Spotting on the 24 Hours of Lemons YouTube channel. I am Eric, and that is Nick. I pointed the right way for once. Yes.
Gosh,
all right.
Damn it.
What this is basically you're out doing things in the real world, going to the store, walking around your neighborhood. You see an interesting car, you take a photo of it, you tag it on Instagram with hashtag Lemon's Car Spotting. Good point in there as well. And we will talk about the cars on this very YouTube channel. And every week we pick a winner of the hooptiest car and the car that we would like to see in Lemons. And I believe it is Nick's turn to make the choosing.
That's right. We have a proprietary choosing system. I am choosing which award Eric is selecting. And in order to do that, I need Eric to close your eyes, and I will have the Lemons car build on this side and the hooptiest on this side. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
That is the Lemons car build. I will be choosing the hooptiest. And for new viewers of this program, the hooptiest, pretty self-explanatory. It's the hooptiest of this week's selection. The Lemons car build is the one that we want to see become a real Lemons build. And we think that it may have potential in that capacity. So with that in mind, let us get started. All right.
I need to. This is a Lincoln Town Car or a Mark 6 or something spotted by Ken Kodak, who is often our one of our pit marshals.
Yep.
I have seen in like the 4 days before we are filming this episode, I have seen no fewer than like 6 of these things in Chicago, and I have no idea why. It's totally blowing my mind.
This car has an incredible presence, and now that 80s and Radwood nostalgia is a thing, I think in a way they're coming into their own. Like, there was a long period of time where it's like, oh man, that is a dated piece of crap. That I'm sure that period started like about 15 minutes after it drove off the showroom floor. But I think now we're coming to the point where like, yeah, you could kind of ironically get into one of these things, this Argyle from Die Hard era Lincoln Town Car.
Yeah, and I mean, I love so many things about this. For one, it's just like the literal 3-box drawn in crayon styling is awesome. And then the sidewall height of like, I don't know what those are. Those are like a 195, 125, like 14.
Yeah, so 100%. That's what gives you a comfortable ride.
That's right.
Excellent start to this week. Let us move on. Oh, man. So, trip back down to Panama, one of our regular contributors, Jake, Panama Car Spotting on Instagram. This is a Lada Niva, which incredibly, two incredible things about the Lada Niva. One, they were sold new in Canada, which is amazingly close to the United States. And this is the kind of car that you would think like, oh yeah, no, the closest they got to selling them in the States was like Romania. But no, you could buy them right across the border. And some of them have crept across, which brings me to the second amazing thing, which is that we have actually seen one of these cars race in Lemons.
We had one in a Lemons rally as well, which was driven from like Alberta to the start of the Retreat from Moscow rally, which is like a 3,000-mile drive to the start of the rally. And that was the rally where we sent people to Waffle Houses to get waffles. And these guys showed up at a Waffle House that was closed and being demolished. and they asked the demolition crew if they could have the sign. And the demolition crew was like, yeah, Yeah, whatever. So they drove the rest of the rally with a Waffle House sign ratchet strapped to the top of their Lada Niva. I only regret that I did not get video of this happening because it's one of the greatest things that's ever happened on a rally.
Well, and the beauty of the Lemons Rally, you should go to 24hoursoflemons.com/rally to learn more about it. But there are myriad ways to score points on the Lemons Rally. And there is enough wiggle room in the judging where we don't have a category for stealing a Waffle House sign, but there's enough room to like give extra points for stuff like that should a team come through with something like that. So yeah, obviously they got many points, I'm sure, for the Waffle House sign.
Yeah, we don't have a point value for that, but it's a lot.
Well, there you go. Suitable for Lemons racing, suitable for the Lemons Rally. Really the perfect vehicle, the Lada Niva.
Damn.
And moving on. Staying in Panama, got ourselves a long bed Chevy C10. Who knows? 68 to 72 Chevy or GMC truck with a long bed and bad chrome wheels and tinted windows.
I gotta say, and I mentioned this on an earlier Lemons car spotting. I love the single cab long bed. And also of note on this is like a 5 model year generation of American trucks is basically no time at all. Most of the trucks have been, like a 19-year run where they changed like 2 things. So,
well, I want to say that this, somebody in the comments is going to roast me for my lack of Chevy truck knowledge. I want to say that up through this one, that was kind of a normal period to have a design, 5 years ish.
Right.
But then after this, they're like, why do 5 years when you could do 23 with the same design? And so I kind of feel like this was the last of the rapidly changing era. And then we went to the, don't change in decades era for Chevy trucks.
Right. Like a rock.
Like a rock. Lord. Oh boy. So this is from Lemon's chief perp himself, Jay Lamb. We've featured photos from his trip to Palm Springs. This is like last year. And, the first one was some kind of Rolls Royce or Bentley. And we commented that, Palm Springs is really more of a Cadillac town. And what's more Cadillac than a Cadillac Allante?
Man, there's so much going for this one. And by going for this, I mean working against it in every single way. It's got the hard top.
Yeah.
It's got just the most atrocious color that something like this could ever wear.
I don't know if I've ever seen this color. I mean, if you're going to do it. I'd say go for the rose gold.
Yeah. And then it's got the red pinstripe on it as well. I feel like this might be a 90, is that 3? Whatever the last model year that started to kind of morph into their 90s design language.
Yeah. Boy, again, in the comments, tell us where we've screwed up horribly. We're still getting Lemon's Car Spotting episode number 1 came out weeks, if not months ago. And we're still getting emails about the fact that, yes, it was not a Dodge Polara. It was a Coronet. And we realize that now. But if we are screwing something up horribly, which is pretty likely, definitely put it in the comments. Now, the Allante, we've had one of these in a Lemons race, and the crazy thing is it's been a pretty good Lemons car, and we actually have a Lemons World episode elsewhere on our YouTube channel about the racing Allante. And for that episode, I did a small amount of Allante research, and it turns out, the final model year, which is in fact 1993, is the only year that's got the North Star. Before that, it was the HT high technology V8. And, on paper, the North Star is way superior. But in Lemons, that HT 4100 has a much better track record than the North Star. So,
Who knew?
Know. Yeah, if you're racing a Allante and Lemons, then go for the early model. That's the moral. Back to Panama. Oh man, speaking of American trucks, It's a Dodge.
Yeah, whatever. I am bad at Dodge trucks, especially of this era. I don't know their naming conventions. It's like a
Yeah.
D300 or something.
Yeah, D
Like
series of a
the
sort.
heavy duty.
Yeah.
It's got a not quite built for it dump truck box on it. From the look of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it appears to be 4-wheel drive. Now, this truck is definitely from the era of American trucks, where it could be a 74 or a 2006.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. If I was a betting man, I'd say it's like an 88.
yeah, I was gonna say somewhere in that sort of late 80s, early 90s range seems about right. Although then you have to factor in Central American market, and who knows what was happening down there.
Right.
So, anyway. Fine vehicle. We've mentioned it before, but big old 1-ton 4x4 trucks. Not so good for Lemons racing, but more than welcome in the Lemons rally. Oh, man. Yeah. It's an MX-3, a Mazda. We not only have we had these in Lemons, but one of these has won a Lemons race. There was a team down there in the South that was campaigning one of these, and it was very successful for a period of time.
Yep, that was a Hong North. I think they ended up with, they have two of these. They had a matching pair with Escort GT engines in it, which was a swap, but a swap in which it was now making 116 horsepower instead of 99.
Yeah,
They won 6 races between the two MX-3s, which is impressive for.
Well, so this MX-3 famously was available with the little tiny 1.8 liter V6, which was the same engine family as illustrious vehicles such as the Probe GT and of course the Mazda MX-6, same car. So the hot swap on paper for these is to put in the 2.5 V6 from a Probe or an MX-6, but what we have found in Lemons, the durability of that series V6 engine, not as good as the durability of an Escort GT motor.
As it turns out. Now, my drummer, when I was in a band many years ago, had one of these with the V6. And I think he wore his handbrake out on that thing, just driving it around. But he would fit an entire drum set in the back of it, which was kind of impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little hatchback. And yeah, for Lemons, this is the kind of car that, if you're thinking about a Camaro or Mustang, you might want to consider something like this because the lightweight, good handling, but lower horsepower vehicles on balance tend to be a little better and more successful than the big V8 stuff. Your mileage may vary.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Wow.
Oh, baby. This is Sea Flow Moto. This is Chris from Black Iron Racing in California. He has gone to a junkyard, and boy, I'm going to mess this up. Looks like a Studebaker, maybe Lark or something on the left, and possibly a Ford Falcon on the right.
That looks right. So a pair of same era compacts.
Yeah, exactly. The sensible family car for that era. And as I've mentioned on this channel before, had a 64 Comet. It was terrible. And let me just say one thing I did not mention when discussing my 64 Comet. With aftermarket parts, all of that terrible stuff that is factory to these vehicles is fixable. You can just inject money and the entire flaming river and whatever else aftermarket catalog at it, and it will sort of fix it and make it into a normal car. But you have to realize that going in. You have to realize that it's not going to be good if that stuff isn't done. So there you go.
Worth mentioning, every single Studebaker that's ever come to Lemons has taken home a trophy. So bring Studebaker, win a trophy.
Have we had we've had a Studebaker Lark, if that's what this is.
I'm pretty sure that's a Lark. We had one Lark when we raced in Utah with a 259 V8.
Yeah. And as I recall, a giant paper mache Lark, the bird on the roof. As if, just in case we didn't notice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Ah, man. Why you ruin classic?
Man, I saw, so I follow the subreddit for abandoned porn of, things
Sure.
falling apart. And there was an Opel GT where the L had fallen off. So it was the
Yeah.
Opel GT, which is,
Yeah.
if you're unfamiliar with Ope, that is a thing you say in the upper Midwest when you bump into somebody or almost bump into somebody. It's always, excuse me. Go through. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
I like to illuminate my West Coast compatriots with these little bits of culture that they don't quite come across. So
Yeah, I that was one I was not aware of, so I do appreciate that. Now, the Opel GT is a car that we have seen in Lemons, most famously the Tiny Vet, which is an Opel GT dressed up in Corvette C5R livery, which has also run the Cannonball, the Coast to Coast Cannonball Rally. Now, when these guys did the Cannonball, it was just like there was no reason to do it other than like, hey, we want to do the Cannonball. The Cannonball is New York City to Santa Monica. These guys are based in California. So in order to do the Cannonball, they had to drive to the starting line and then back again. And they did it all like in one shot.
Yeah.
So, in an Opel GT Lemons car. So.
Opel GT is also the only Lemons car I know of that has set a time at Bonneville. They ran 119 two ways.
That's, all joking aside, that's really good for an Opel GT.
Right.
I mean, that's, I don't know. I don't know if I'd trust my 2002 to do 118.
Hell no.
That's cooking. All right.
Damn.
Oh man, this is just we've got all of these Chris photos lined up. He apparently found the greatest pick and pull ever. This is some kind of humongous Cadillac.
Yeah, oh man, I shouldn't even attempt to guess the year. I'm gonna say it's like 52. 51?
I was gonna say 53. So yeah, maybe we're not horribly wrong, but as always, tell us that we've completely foobarred it down in the comments. Yep, this is one of the peaks of American styling right here. Man, well, there you go. And lastly, hey, why not? Let's finish off the Chris section of the pick and pull with a Ford Courier.
Man, and it's a camper. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking this up for various reasons today, but like in 1979, the Ford truck line was freaking enormous. By the way, they had the Ranchero, the Bronco, the Courier, the van. And there were like 5 trim levels of van. They had the F series, and 5 or 6 trim levels. So there were literally like 20 different trucks you could buy in the late 70s. The Courier being the one that probably nobody in the world bought.
Well, the Courier was obviously a response to the success of the small Datsun and Toyota trucks that came into prominence in the 1970s. And Ford, like any other good, humongous American manufacturer, they're like, well, there's no way we could figure out the engineering involved with something like that. Let's build a copy from some other Japanese manufacturer. So that's what they did. This is obviously DNA wise a Mazda. And, the Courier, I think it never sold or never survived in the numbers that the Toyotas or Datsuns did. But the few people, AKA one person, AKA Lemons racer Pete Peterson, the one person that I know that is actually a Courier enthusiast, he swears by the damn thing. So, that's a 100% success rate in my book.
And why wouldn't you trust Pete Peterson, who daily drove an MGB for years with a motor that he stole out of his wife's MGB? So, as far as Lemon's characters go, I mean, can you get a more accurate, picture of reality?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've never owned a Courier, so he must know better than me. All right, that brings us to the end and our awards segment. I had the hooptiest, so I will go first. There were a lot to choose from. Yeah, there were a lot to choose from. Obviously, any of these cars in the junkyard are certainly candidates for the hooptiest, but I like to go with one that sort of has more of a hint at possibly running, which, maybe none of these actually do. but more so than the ones in the junkyard. So I am going to go with possibly that, but not that. The only Russian car on the list, because what says hoopty more than a Russian car? I'm going with the Lada Niva.
Oh man, it's the Soviet Jeep, but better. If you listen to anybody who's driven both.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I don't know if I believe that, but
well, it's the only car, to my knowledge, the only Russian car that has raced in both a Lemons race and competed in a Lemons rally. So there you go. Maybe, God, is it we've had a lot of sedan in the Lemons race, but as far as Russian or / Soviet vehicles, those are the only two I can think of.
There's the Yugo. If you count the Yugo, we've had a bunch of those on rallies.
Yeah, I guess that's not really Soviet, is it?
No, it's Eastern Bloc.
It's Yugoslavian, yeah. And we've had the Wartburg, which was East German,
right?
But or was it?
Yeah,
it might be. Yeah,
that was East German.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. That's my answer for the hooptiest.
Man, and I'm for the one I want to see built into Lemons. It's tough. It's a tough one. The MX-3 is way too nice. It's actually would be a good Lemons car.
Right. I'd agree.
The town car, I'm not sure we've ever had an actual town car in Lemons. Maybe one. Certainly not one of this era. And it may
not
be
an Argyle edition.
Yeah. That's the thing about them, is all the special editions from the 80s. But I think I'm going to go with either the Lark or the Falcon. They're in the same photo. I mean, look at them. That's just, any Studebaker's great, and any American Orphan brand is great. But the Lark is just such like a weird, like part of dying car brand, failed attempt to save it. That's kind of a perfect Lemon story there. And the Falcon, it's a Falcon.
Well, we love seeing any kind of old 60s iron from anywhere in a Lemons race. And I think that, that makes it an excellent selection for the Lemons build of the week. Orphan brands are great. Funny side story about Studebaker. So my mom grew up in Detroit proper, and her family was a Studebaker family, which doesn't make any sense. But of all the places where it would have made sense to get, a Detroit brand, I went with the Studebaker, which was what? South Bend? Yeah, South Bend, Indiana. And, all kinds of good stuff comes out of Indiana, doesn't it?
Well, that should pretty much take it out for us for this week of Lemons Car Spotting. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with a whole new batch of crap to make fun of. Be sure to tune in. Be sure to subscribe.
And don't forget to tag your photos, Lemons Car Spotting. And as always, for this winner of the week or any of the other cars in this selection, post in the comments how you would prepare it for Lemons, because we always like to hear people's ideas. So see you next time.